Hold up, I am on my way, I'm in motion. Let's go to the ocean. Yeah, let's go outside. We can hang out on the beach without freezing.
Welcome to Crafty Beach. This is Julie. Today I have 7 Easter Dollar Tree DIYs for you. The theme today is a fun and traditional Easter, and I had so much fun putting these DIYs together for you. So let's get started with the first one. I wanted to DIY these giant stackable eggs. You get these for $5 and you get 3 of them. They come in white or they're also like pastel colors. I prefer the white, but I have picked up both. I'm going to go ahead and take the top egg. We are going to DIY that one later, but for this one, we're going to use the bottom 2 eggs. They snap together like that, sort of similar to like the snowman and stuff they had at Christmas time. What I want to do is make a fuzzy Easter bunny with these using these microfiber mop heads from the Dollar Tree. Now, as you can see, they are long enough. They're a little bit too long lengthwise, but I find that was the best way for me to do it. I'm going to put them side by side all the way around this bottom half of the Easter bunny, just attaching them with hot glue to the egg. And this part was actually pretty easy. So I start here at the top. I don't want to go too high with them because I want to be able to pop the top on and off. I don't want that to interfere with that. And I just glue about half of it on at a time, just gluing it directly to the egg. Now these eggs do have like kind of a funky diamond texture on them, which I kind of like covering them with things like this, but for the top egg, I'll show you how I did it without actually covering it with something that covers that pattern, and we were able to make it work. So there's our first one. I just trimmed off the excess material. It does shed when you cut these microfiber mop heads from the Dollar Tree, so beware. I try to work with them as little as possible, but I didn't want to waste any material if I need any of those extra pieces to patch in. And then I'm just gonna start working my way around. Now I'm going straight up and down with these, but I'm also trying to keep them side by side so the fur will kind of blend in from one to the next. And since it's a little bit wider at the bottom of the bottom egg, it is going to not completely line up perfectly. You'll see here in a minute where I did have to use some of that scrap fabric to patch like the remaining opening in this. But I thought that I could get away with 5, and I probably needed about 5.5 for this bottom piece to cover the entire thing. I want to cover the bottom of the egg for the bunny body, and the middle egg is going to be the bunny head. So it's a nice large piece. I was inspired to make this because using the snowman for Christmas time, I made a Grinch, which was really fun, that I covered in fur. So I wanted an Easter bunny. And I just keep working my way about a half of it at a time. I want to make sure that my hot glue sets up and try to cut it with as little shedding, but I did have lots of strings on me after I was done DIYing this project. This is my 5th and final one, and you'll see that I do have a little bit of area here, wider at the bottom, that I will have to patch, but no problem because we have all that scrap material right now. It's definitely wider at the bottom, so I'm going to patch it in 2 different steps. I just cut like a little strip here for the bottom part, and as you can see, it all blends together when you match it together. I do like the new faux fur they have for Easter this year at Dollar Tree, but I haven't been able to find any in white. So I always go back to these microfiber mop heads. They never let me down. I cut a skinnier piece for this top section because there was a slight opening there just to make sure that it is all full. And that is the bottom of our fuzzy bunny. We're going to do a couple different things to this to make it look like a bunny. I want to add a bunny tail, bunny feet, stuff like that. Let's go ahead and add the tail now. This is the tail I'm using. It's actually like a keychain or like maybe a backpack clip that I got at Dollar Tree. It is pink. It is fluffy. I thought it would be perfect, but you could always use like a big pom-pom back here as well. And I'm just attaching it with hot glue back here on the bunny bum. And we will go ahead and do the feet in just a little bit. But I think that looks pretty good so far. And we can start working on the bunny head. I'm using just bunny ears from the Dollar Tree, just some traditional white fuzzy ones with the pink inside of the ears. And I'm gonna leave it intact, just pressing it down inside that top egg. It has an opening there in the top, and I was able to just wedge it in there without having to do anything else to attach it. It does make them go a little bit off to the sides like that, but I kind of like it. I think it looks cute. And if you could get some larger ears than they carry at the Dollar Tree, it might be even more to scale. But I wanted to do Dollar Tree, so I used the Dollar Tree bunny ears. They're big enough, I think. And so now more microfiber mop heads for the top part. I'm going to build it the same way as I did the bottom, going up and down like this. But I am going to make sure that I overlap the hole on the top here, going all the way to the bunny ears, so you won't be able to see any of that. In the final bunny, I love crafting with a microfiber mop head, even though it sheds a lot. It's just such a good fluffy material. Another thing you could use is the automotive towels from the Dollar Tree, but you're definitely not going to get the fluff like you're going to get with these things. And again, I just cut off the excess material. There is more of a scrap this time because we're working with a smaller egg. If you wanted to make a smaller version, I guess you could use the top 2 eggs instead of the bottom 2, but I wanted mine to be pretty large. So that's what we're going for. And we're also going to DIY the top egg too in today's video. So again, just kind of pairing it around here. I started one in the middle so it would be kind of centered. I could do a fun little bunny face on it. And then just working both sides here out and hot gluing it and cutting off the excess. I'm trying to remember exactly how many I used. So I used 5.5 for the bottom. And I'm thinking I used 4. Yeah, so I used 4 here for the top. As you can see, there is a little bit of overlap. So I did cut off this corner here. Luckily, I didn't have that glued down quite yet. And that leaves me a better opening here for the back of it. And again, I'm going to go high enough to cover up that hole on the top of the bunny head and pull that down. You can, make it really full. It doesn't have to fit perfectly, and it just makes it look fluffier. So that's it. We've covered the entire bunny with the automotive towels. Definitely a very fluffy bunny and super cute so far. I'm just going to make sure everything is laying down flush here on the bottom, and I want to make sure that this is going to work by popping these together. And I'm going to put something around its neck, but I think I'd probably still be able to take it apart if I needed to for storage. I did have a problem with the Grinch. I did have to glue the snowman head on my Grinch, and I couldn't take it apart. Now for the face, we are going to DIY it with macrame cord. I picked up some white and black macrame cord at Dollar Tree, and it's okay if you can't find the color because it's easy enough to paint it. I'll show you how. And I'm working on my silicone mat, so I don't have to worry about the hot glue sticking. And I just did a upside down triangle for the nose, and I lined it with macrame cord, going around and around in the middle until I filled up the entire bunny nose. And this is white, and I can paint it like a nice pink color to match the ears. So I think that looks pretty good. You can just peel it off your silicone mat if you have one. Even if you don't have a big one like I do, they do have the smaller ones at Dollar Tree. I would definitely suggest having one for your crafting stash. They come in handy. I mixed a couple different colors together, a polished pink and a salmon color to try to get a similar pink color to those ears, and just painted the macrame cord, leaving it there to dry. Now we can do the eyes. I already have black macrame cord, so I don't have to paint it, so that is a nice thing. And I'm going to build these eyes the same way that I built the bunny nose. I just put some hot glue in a circle on my silicone mat, starting from the outside, going around into a circle. And I'm going to try to make 2 of these the same size, doing the same thing. Hot glue in a circle and macrame cord in a spiral fashion. Once they set up a little bit, you can trim off any excess. Mine were slightly different sizes, and so I did work here to try to make sure that they are symmetrical and about the same size. So my bunny will have 2 eyes. And I wanted to build it like this because I wanted the face to look a little bit sewn in since it's a plush material. And this was the easiest way I could think of doing it. It actually worked out really well. I hate buying like noses, eyes, stuff like that for crafting when you can just make them your own and they turn out really cute like this. So 2 eyes and a little bunny nose. I am going to make a mouth too on this one. And I thought about doing whiskers, but I didn't want to do too much. So no whiskers on this bunny rabbit. Maybe if I had a better whisker material to craft with, I could have. but I'm just going to go ahead and start hot gluing them on. I just use hot glue, push it down into the fluff. The fluff like slightly overlaps them, which makes them look really cute, and it makes it look almost like a stuffed animal. So I glued those on, and now it's time to make a little bunny mouth. It's really easy to do. I'm going to use the same black macrame cord, starting here from the nose, going straight down, and you're just going to do a J shape. I cut that or glue that and cut that one off, and then I'm gonna just make a little curve on the other side. I don't want to overlap that middle part and make it too wide, but a bunny face is pretty easy to do. 2 circles, upside down triangle, and then a cute little mouth like this. Trying to make it symmetrical as I can and kind of pressing it down into the fluff as well. No whiskers for mine. I think it would have been a little overpowering with that thick black macrame cord. And trying it on here, he is looking pretty good. I think he needs some feet though. I picked up some of these little felt bunny feet from the Dollar Tree, and I thought this would be a fun idea. They have little pink toe pads, so it matches our color scheme, and I can glue one to each side to look like feet sticking out from the bunny. I'm not going to do any arms on them. You could, if you wanted to, you could have your bunny holding something like carrots or eggs or something like that, but I couldn't really think of how to make that work, and I kind of like just the 2-part bunny, but I did think the feet would make him extra cute. So I just hot glued those on, one to each side, and now it's time to finish him off with a little bow. I found this great pastel gingham ribbon that's wired from the Dollar Tree. I just wrap it around his neck, leaving about 6 or 7 inches there as a tail, and tie it off. And I'm also going to put it off to the side a little bit, offset it, and double tie it, bringing those down for the tails. I layer them together and fold them in half so I can dovetail them, and they'll be about the same length. And that's just going to be the dovetails. I'm going to do a faux bow on here, just a simple one. He doesn't need much. I think 1 loop's going to be fine. I just loop it together like that, where I can slightly overlap the ribbon so it will catch it when I go to zip tie it all together. I take that, put it on top of what we already have, and then using a zip tie, I just zip tie it all together. Such an easy way to make a bow, and it's wired, so it's going to be easy to shape and make it look cute here. And I think he definitely needed a transition, something around his neck. So a little shaping of the bow, and this DIY is complete. I love how he turned out. He's so cute. Now, if you did want to do bigger ears, you could, but I think I made it work. Here it is, our little fuzzy bunny rabbit made with the stacking Easter eggs from Dollar Tree. I have a whole bunch of these, so look forward to more DIYs with these. I can't wait to craft with these for Easter this year. I'm glad Easter's a little later this year. It gives me time for lots of DIYs. Hey guys, if you're enjoying today's video, be sure to hit that like button, and if you haven't subscribed, I'd really appreciate it. This is the top of the 3 stackable eggs. It is solid on top, but it does have that diamond shape all over. I'm going to try the Dollar Tree spring napkins. You could also do this with the Easter napkins if you wanted to. I thought this might be a really pretty, and I wasn't sure if I was going to that surface, but I'll show you how it turned out. First of all, I just cut my napkin in half because it has a pattern on each side. And this is a 2-layer napkin from the Dollar Tree, so I only have 1 layer to remove. You only want 1 layer of your napkin. And what I want to do is rip it around the pattern. Whenever I like to do decoupage, I always like to rip it because it looks better than cutting. So to do that, I just take a paintbrush and some water and go around the outside of the pattern. And then when I go around, I can pull it. It will tear like where it is wet. It's not foolproof, but it works pretty good. And what I want to do is line all these flowers and butterflies up to the bottom part of the egg. And then I want like the top part of the egg to look like the sky is what I'm going for. So that piece is not going to be enough, so I am going to need the other half of the napkin. So I'm going to go ahead and get that as well. If you can't get your layer off, using some painter's tape or any kind of tape is going to help you there when you can't get your corner. And I'm not going to need near as much as this one because I just need enough to go completely around the egg. So I'm just going to cut off a portion here, like maybe here in the middle. And now that I have that one, I can go ahead and cut that one as well with the water, really easy to do. You're just painting kind of where you want to tear it. And it prevents the tear from tearing your pattern is the goal there. And then I also cut off this line here on the bottom because that doesn't really go with the pattern. But otherwise, I think these napkins are beautiful, right? I love the colors. Now I want all my edges to be ripped, so I went ahead and ripped the sides as well using water. I don't care about the bottom. I'm gonna line the bottom up with the bottom of the egg, and so that should be fine. So all of that is prepared. We are going to decoupage the entire egg. So some of it's not plastic, some of it's paper, paper mache. I want it all to look like a paper mache egg. And I'm just using matte Mod Podge. Whenever I decoupage with napkins like this, I'm going to do a really thin coat. It helps to avoid all of the wrinkling and stuff like that. You will get some wrinkling, especially when you have to go around curves like this. I just creased it a little bit here at the bottom where you wouldn't really be able to tell the pattern, but laying the top part of the pattern down flat as I went around. And I just do one portion at a time. I don't want to go too crazy with the Mod Podge. Lay that down so the top, like 2/3 of it is pretty flat. And then if any wrinkles I need to make, I will do them there at the bottom. I want it to be tight with the shape of the egg to keep that great shape. And go all the way around the little butterflies here at the top. So pretty. And I just love how this turned out. We are going to cover the top of it too. And then I'm going to show you how I made it look more like a sky because it's a little bit white. The sky's a little bit white on this one. Here's our other piece. I just slightly overlap there where I started and stopped with the pattern. And I don't want to overlap too much. And so I'm just going to kind of trim this down here where it is the perfect size and decoupage that. Try to blend that in, even though the pattern kind of starts and stops there a little bit. And then I just make sure everything is down. I don't want to use too much of the Mod Podge, again, because of unnecessary wrinkling. I just want to make sure everything's glued down and everything is stuck tight. So just kind of like decorating a giant Easter egg, right? This is what it looks like so far. If I left it like that, the bottom half would be like paper mache and the top half would look plastic. I think it would look kind of cheap. So that's why we're gonna decoupage the entire thing. So for my second napkin, I'm just cutting out the sky part. So that's gonna be the center part of the napkin. And again, I just want one layer of this and I am going to rip it any of the edges. It's like a light blue and white sky. It's very soft. I do have to end up making it a little bit more blue. But I do not want any of those cut edges since I cut the piece out. So again, I just use water to have all ripped edges. And what I'm going to do is tear this sky up into little pieces that I can use to cover the rest of the egg. So I only needed 2 napkins to cover the entire egg. So you're gonna have plenty left to use as napkins or do some work crafting. I love this pattern though. Dollar Tree has some really beautiful napkins. I always enjoy getting them every year, whether I need them for napkins or not. I love to use them for crafting. So now it's time to start filling in the sky. So anywhere where there wasn't any of the material, I just put a piece there, ripping it as I go to just make them exactly how big I need them to be. And I don't want to really overlap the top too much because the position changes a lot. And I just keep Mod Podging all around. This is a pretty easy DIY. It dries really fast. And tearing is probably the thing that takes a little bit the longest, but it does give you a really cool finish in the end when you don't have any cut edges. It all just blends together. The only challenging part on this was going in between the butterflies to fill those side pieces, but otherwise I just want to cover the entire sky. Now I am working over that diamond texture on the egg, which I wasn't sure how that would look with the decoupage on there, but it kind of actually adds to it. It's kind of fun. It was really easy to stick to it, and it takes on that pattern, but very subtly. So almost done. I think I have enough here to cover it. And again, just making sure everything is glued down and everything is covered with the napkin paper on there because I don't want that plastic shininess coming through at all. I want it all to be covered. Now it's time to make the sky a little bit more blue. I take some water and I'm going to water down Mod Podge, like maybe 1 to 1. I usually don't water down Mod Podge because it's pretty thin, but what I want to do is do like a blue glaze all over the entire thing. So once I get that in there, I do 1 drop of blue food coloring. You could also use a drop of paint if you wanted. I think that would work. Basically, you want to dye your Mod Podge and to do like a glaze over it that's going to give it blue. So this is going to help seal it further with a coat on top of everything, but it's also adding color. It doesn't really take away from the bright colors and the flowers and the butterflies, but as you can see, it really adds a lot of blue to the sky. And I'm so glad that I decided to do this for the final coat of the Mod Podge on there because I think the blue sky looks really pretty on there. It brings out so much character in it. And just making sure I go over everything in between all of the flowers, all the sky. I want everything to be that light blue color. And then I dry it, making sure there's not areas that are really blue and other areas that are a little bit of white coming through. So any areas that I did see a little bit too much white for my liking, I did go over with a little bit more of the colored Mod Podge to fill those in and give me more of a consistent blue pattern. I don't care if it is a little bit of transition with darker blues and lighter blues, but I wanted more blue than white in the sky. So just going over and touching it up one more time for this final coat, and I love how this turned out. I think this is so pretty. I don't think I have any of the Easter napkins this year. I just have the spring ones, so I'm not sure which ones they have, but I bet this could look really pretty with them as well. And it's a great use for the top egg of my 3-egg stack. I think that looks pretty good. Let me give you a closer look of how this turned out. I love the texture. I love the matte finish. I'm glad I used a matte finish for the Mod Podge. But look how beautiful that is to see how the shape of the egg really kind of lends a little bit more character to it. And then the beautiful pattern of the napkin decoupaged on the outside. And it's perfect, flowers and butterflies for spring, but a little bit of a nod to Easter with the Easter egg. For this DIY, I'm going to use one of the Dollar Tree carrots or faux carrots, one of their wood bunnies, some craft wood, and some of that new faux fur they have at the Dollar Tree this year. For my piece of scrap wood, it's just a piece of craft wood. I'm going to cut it down a little bit because I don't want it to be too big. That's going to be the base. I wanted to do a really cool carrot and I want to do a fluffy bunny kind of looking at it. Now the Dollar Tree carrots are great. I like the greenery and I like the shape, but I wanted something a little bit more artsy for this. So what I'm gonna do is cover the entire thing with twine. I'm using the twine from Walmart. It's a little bit thicker than the twine from Dollar Tree, but you could do it with either or. And I start here at the top. At the top, I found I did have to hot glue it to get it straight up against the greenery like that. And keep its shape until I get to the area where I can just start wrapping it. It gets a lot faster when you don't have to glue everything down. I just want to go around this edge here and then I can just start wrapping the entire thing. I am going to paint the twine orange to look like a carrot, but it's just going to be a lot more beautiful, I think. I love this look. I think it's really rustic and fun for Easter. Here, I just went ahead and did like a little line of hot glue where it would like grab one side as I spun it around. And I tried to keep it as tight as possible. It's okay if a little bit of the orange carrot shows through because I am going to be painting it orange anyway, but I did try to keep it as tight as I could. And then I did have to hot glue again when I got here to the very tip of our little carrot. And that looks pretty good. I got pretty good coverage. There's a few areas you can see the orange carrot through, but again, I'm going to be painting it, so it doesn't really matter. The first thing I do is just go around the jute twine, burning off the fuzzies on that, trying to make it a little bit easier to paint with less string sticking out of the side of it. And for the paint, I'm just using acrylic paint and pumpkin. It's a little bright orange, but you know, it's a carrot and mixed with the brown of the twine. I like how it looks. I don't want great coverage. I just basically want to give a light coat of orange all over. And if there are some areas like that where you can see the carrot through there, I just went ahead and painted the carrot too, so it would all be the same color. And I just go around all the sides of the carrot. I want this to be a standing display with a fuzzy bunny looking at a carrot in the grass. I want it to be really cute, and it's going to be like a giant carrot for the size of that bunny rabbit. So that looks pretty good. I'm going to give it a quick dry, and I did notice that it did still have like a lot of string sticking out of it, even after burning the fuzzies off of this one. So I did try to trim them up a little bit with some scissors just to clean it up a little bit. It looks a little bit better if it doesn't have all of those strings sticking out of it. Now for the bunny, I've been dying to craft with this craft fur. Look how beautiful this is. And I chose this brown color because a bunny can be brown like this. I didn't want to do a natural color like purple. And I'm just going to go ahead and remove the tag off the back of this because you will be able to see this. This is going to be a standing sign. And line that up with the edge of the fabric. And I have it flipped over, so I just use an ink pen to trace out this bunny shape. I thought it would be easier to cut this out before I add it to the bunny rather than later. I also picked up some of this craft fur in lavender and light blue, which I think are going to be really fun colors to craft with for Easter. Now it's time to cut it out. I'm just going to cut right inside my ink line, trying to make sure that I cut it out perfectly. And basically, I just want to cover the entire front of the wood bunny with the fur. Now, I've covered these bunnies with paper, all different kinds of different things, even flowers, but I have never done it with fur, and I love how this turned out. I just want to keep that silhouette of the bunny. I like the simple bunny silhouette. I don't want to give it a face or anything like that, but the addition of the fur was really cute. So I cut it out the right way, so that's good. And it looks like it's going to be a perfect fit here. This fur does shed a little bit on your cut edges. I just glue the bunny's head and neck here first, making sure I line everything up with the hot glue. Really easy to do, and isn't that so cute? I'm so glad Dollar Tree decided to start carrying the fur because it's something that I usually have to get somewhere else if I'm going to craft with it. So that looks pretty good. We have our little bunny rabbit. I do want him to have a fuzzy bunny tail. For that, I'm going to use one of these little pom-poms from the Dollar Tree, the little bunny kits, the larger one that's white. And I'm just going to try to flatten that out a little bit so I can use hot glue to glue it on, and it'll just be full coming out the one side. I just push that down into the faux fur, hot gluing that in place right where the bunny tail was on that. Because of course the bunny has to have a bunny tail, right? And I want him to look at the carrot like that. For the piece of craft wood, I'm going to paint it first with a acrylic paint in leaf green color, the top, the front, the back, and the ends of it as well. I do want to cover the part where the carrot is with some faux grass, but for the bunny rabbit, I'm just going to want a green surface to attach that to. I'm going to drive a nail where I want the carrot. That way I have something to kind of spike the carrot on. The carrot's made out of foam inside, so I can use the nail in a combination with hot glue to attach that so it can be freestanding. For the bunny, it's really easy because I can just glue the wooden bunny down here. I made sure that the fur didn't overlap the bottom. And I glue that with an inch or so here on the side. Basically, that takes up everything over there. So the only place I need to cover with the faux grass is over here on the side. This is from the Dollar Tree Plus for the Easter stuff right now. For $5, you can get a big roll of this faux turf, and I love using it for crafting. I'm going to cut off just a little rectangular shape there. One thing about these, you want to cut them a little bit larger than what you need because the way it's set up on this black mat, sometimes you can see it on your cut edges, and I always like to try to trim those off so you only see the grass. So that looks pretty good. I just put it on top of that nail, also using a little bit of hot glue to attach it. And then some hot glue on the nail. I'm just going to put the carrot on there, our little string carrot. Making sure that is glued in place. It's like a freestanding carrot like that on the side of the bunny sign. Isn't that so cute? I'm so glad that I got to craft with that faux fur. I think the combination of the furry rabbit with the beautiful string carrot, I'm glad I decided to do that on their faux carrots like that. It was the perfect size and it was really easy to do for that. And just a little grass there on the bottom for the carrot. I think it's really sweet and simple and beautiful for Easter. Now, this sign I found at the Dollar Tree is really pretty on its own. It's like a light blue with white flowers all over it. It says welcome. I think it's so cute. I'm just going to add a few things to make it even better. I don't know why they tied the hanger on like that. That was really kind of strange. When you untie it, then you have a super long hanger, which is also kind of strange. So the first thing I'm going to do is just tie a knot there to shorten that hanger and simplify the whole thing. And there's a picture of a rope that goes all the way around the bunny, and I don't really like that. I would rather have real rope. So I'm going to use the thinner brown rope, and just starting right here on the bunny foot, this is the perfect width to cover this. You could also use the thinner white nautical rope for this, but I thought the brown rope would look better. And I'm just going to glue that all the way around. I love the pattern on that. It's really cute. Mine didn't have a lot of glare, but if you find yours is a little shiny, you might want to cover the surface of the bunny first with some matte Mod Podge to give it a more matte finish, but mine wasn't too bad. So I just went working straight directly on the sign, and I just go around with that one piece of rope. I've been trying to order cases of rope. I was able to order one to my store, but then my warehouses have ran out of them. So I've been trying to stock up because I was completely out of Dollar Tree rope. I'm going to have it start and stop right there at the bunny foot. It's easy place to use some hot glue to make that look like the rope just continues around there. It has a raffia bow on it, which I don't mind. It's kind of cute. So I'm just going to use my heat gun to straighten it out a little bit, fluff it up a little bit, make it look really cute there around the neck of the bunny rabbit. Mine had a slight tear there at the bottom of the sign, and I wanted to add something to it anyway, so I'm going to use some of the little string carrots from the Dollar Tree, some of the smaller ones like that, and glue them there. I don't want to overlap where it says welcome. I'm going to glue one right here in the center, and then have two tilted out toward the side like that. Just a fun little addition. It covered that area of the sign that I didn't realize was scratched when I bought it a while ago. And cut the little greenery down too so it doesn't cover the word. Then I decided there was too much blue going on with the blue beads and the blue bunny, so I decided to swap them out with some orange beads. I thought that would coordinate well with the orange carrot, so we added to the sign and go away from being too much of the blue. They had 8 on there. I like to do more odd numbers, so I went like 3 on each side. So I'm going to do 6 on that existing hanger, and it's easy enough to take that on and off with this little stem that it had on it. And that's the final step. This was such an easy DIY. I knew it was really pretty already, this welcome bunny sign. And I thought if I added some rope, bright orange beads, and some carrots to it, we could make it even more fun. Isn't this so cute? And if you wanted to replace the bow around the neck, you totally could. But I was pretty happy with the raffia that was on there. And isn't that so cute? I love this bunny. Now, next I'm going to include some more Easter DIYs that I've done here on my channel. For the next DIY, I wanted to do Easter egg candle holders. So I picked up some of the flocked Easter egg garland from the Dollar Tree Plus for $3 because I really liked those flocked Easter eggs, and some of these little wreath charms from the Dollar Tree. I thought these would be great bases for my candle holder because we're going to be building a candle holder from scratch. So I couldn't find 2 that were the same, but they both had white sides. This one, the yellow from the design, kind of went over onto the sides a little bit. So I'm just going to touch that up with a white paint pen so that you won't be able to see that. Then to cover the top of the bases, I designed this great Easter kind of floral background. It's got like chickens and bunnies and cute stuff like that on there. And I love the pastel colors. So I printed that out on cardstock, and I will share that free printable with you as well. I'm just filling the ornament holes in the little charms with a little bit of spackle so I won't have like a hole in those. But The cardstock is nice and thick, so I don't really have to do anything to that. We're just going to cover the butterfly and the bee on those with this great pattern that I designed. And I am using just a pencil, just flipping it over, and we can just sketch out 2 circles to cover the top of these, and we'll just leave the sides of them white. And these are going to be the bases for the candle holders. So I want to use those flocked Easter eggs from that egg garland to create this because I really wanted a high end Easter egg, and those were the nicest Easter eggs that I could find at the Dollar Tree. Again, those were $3, but you get like 10 of those eggs. And so we're just cutting out the cardstock. And again, I use cardstock because it Mod Podges really well, but you could use paper if you wanted to print out this really cute design. And I will include a link to this printable in the description below this video as well. So we're just going to Mod Podge these to the top. So I just do a thin coat of Mod Podge over this, making sure I get the entire little reef charm. And you could do like the chunky wood circles from the Dollar Tree too. It's going to give you a heavier duty base. I didn't have any of those and I couldn't find any. So I think these actually worked really well, even though they are a little bit thinner. But it actually turned out to a really stable candle holder because I want to be able to burn these candles. So I want it to be nice and stable. And these actually worked really well. So we're just going to Mod Podge both of those little circles that we cut out of that paper right onto the bases. I'm just using my heat gun to kind of speed that up, help it dry a little bit, and then we're going to seal these to make them a little bit more durable. I wanted to make 2 candle holders that I could use like on my kitchen table for Easter, kind of a matching set. And so I want them to be nice and durable. So just giving those a quick dry, and we have 2 bases for the candle holders. I was really not sure if I was going to be able to pull this off, but I actually did, and they turned out so cute. I've never made like a candle holder from scratch like this before. I guess I've made more simple ones, but this one's kind of definitely more intricate. So I'm going to use a sanding block here just to kind of get any excess paper off the edges. And then we're going to measure these. You can see they're about 4 inches wide. I just kind of need to know where the center is. And I'm just going to kind of sketch out the center with a pencil because I want to drill a hole in these to be able to put the wood dowel down inside. So just using my drill bit, in my drill, I am just going to drill a hole in these. Whatever these are made out of, they kind of like really make a mess. It's probably like some kind of pressed wood, I guess. And so I just drill a hole into the center. I actually went all the way through on mine to make it nice and stable because I need a hole for the wood dowel. You could also use the skewers, I think, from the Dollar Tree, but I wanted it to be as stable as I could make it. So I'm going to use some of the really thin wood dowels that I found at Dollar Tree, but I know sometimes these can be a little tricky to find. So that looks good. These are the dowels that I'm using. I wanted something as thick as I could get, but something that would fit through the hole that's already drilled through those eggs to make that wood bead garland. So we're just going to try these on for size. And I think I did a really good job. One of them was a little bit looser, but we're going to glue these in anyway with hot glue. So that should stabilize that. So put a little hot glue down in the hole that we drilled and just putting the wood down inside. I'm just leaving these the length that they are because I can always cut them down because I don't know exactly how long I'm going to need them to be. But that is the base right there for our candlesticks. Now, I love these flocked eggs. You know, they have like the large flocked eggs for $1.25 at the Dollar Tree. So keep your eye out for those. I've been trying to stock up on those because I love them. But these are small ones. And so I thought this would be the best way to get these. They have a hole inside. And so I just put my egg on there, like the skinnier side of the egg up, and slide that right down. There's already a hole inside of them. So that makes it a little bit easier. And I don't really have any green on the base of the candle holder, so I think I'm just going to use pink, yellow, and blue. That's going to kind of coordinate more. Now be very careful because I kind of messed up this blue egg. I kind of got stuck, and as you can see, it kind of wanted to break it. Actually, it did break it, but I was able to kind of push it back down in there and make it salvageable, but I didn't have an extra one of the blue eggs, of course. That was the one that it happened to. But I was able to make it work. So I'm just trying to repair any damage. So be very careful if you're using these exact eggs to very gently push it down and make sure you're getting the dowel to come out in the same hole that's drilled on the top. So we did pink, blue, and yellow for that one. Again, we're skipping green just because it didn't coordinate well with that paper I designed. And then we're going to do pink, blue, and yellow on the other side. I like went back and forth whether I should like change up the order of the colors or if I should have the same exact pattern. I ended up doing the same exact pattern because I'm going to have it like on a table together, and I thought it would actually look better to make them match, but you can do whatever pattern, you want if you're doing this project. And I decided, let's do the same thing. So we're going to do pink first. I just carefully put that on my wood dowel and carefully wiggle that through the foam egg because it's just foam right underneath the flocked surface. But these eggs are so pretty. I absolutely love them. And here is our final yellow egg. And I think I've kind of got the hang of it now. So I've got them all on there. I didn't have to glue them or anything because they really fit with tension with that dowel like coming through them. And we have 3 stacked Easter eggs. Now to cut the dowel off, I just used some heavy duty scissors and kind of broke it off. And then I kind of went back and tried to trim it up as much as I could. It was kind of hard to cut it at this point. But I don't really want too much of that wood sticking up because I don't want it to interfere with attaching our candle holders to the top. Now, since I'm going to attach clear glass candle holders to the top, I don't really want you to see the foam and the wood, so I just used a little yellow acrylic paint to touch up the top of my eggs. But this is what we have so far with our little egg candlesticks. Super cute. I'm kind of glad I did the same pattern. I'm kind of glad they match. Now for the top of the candle holder, we're going to use these little candle holders from the Dollar Tree. You get 4 of these for $1.25. And we're going to use these. They hold the tea light candles. I didn't want anything too big and heavy to go on the top of this, and I think these are going to work well. It's just a matter of finding a way to attach it to it and make it strong so that we can actually put candles in there. Now, hot glue and glass, doesn't work great, so we're going to use super glue. I picked up some super glue from the Dollar Tree, and I'm actually going to kind of assemble these upside down because the glass part is like the heaviest part of the piece, and I want to make this stable, and getting this to dry is going to be a little bit challenging. So I put a little super glue right in the bottom and flipped my candlestick upside down, holding that onto the glass candle holder. And I did hold it for a while to let that start to harden up. Super glue is a little bit faster than like E6000 and stuff like that, but you still have to really kind of use some patience on that. We're going to do this same thing here with the other candle holder, doing a nice healthy drop of super glue right in the middle and laying our little felt egg right here on top. And again, I held that one for a while to start setting up. And as you can see, my other candle holder is starting to lean a little bit. So it's not completely set up yet. So be careful. I was able to catch mine and kind of straighten it out a little bit. Now, again, the super glue is going to need some time to dry. So I'm going to go in with some hot glue around the edges. This is going to, any excess hot glue is going to go against the bottom of the glass candle holder. And it's a little hard to see right now, I know from this angle, but I just kind of went around the edges of it with some hot glue just to kind of hold it in place like this, just so it can kind of finish drying and actually also cause more stability. We can't do with too much glue here because we want to make these candlesticks nice and strong. So I let these dry, and this is how they turned out. We have 2 Easter egg candle holders with the stacked Easter eggs. I absolutely love them. I'm so glad I chose to use the flocked Easter eggs just because they look so nice. I love that look of the flocked look. And I'm just making sure they are as straight as possible and super sturdy and that everything is staying in place. I love how these turned out. Let me show you how they look. Super cute little Easter candlesticks, very custom. And we can just use tea light candles for the top of them. So I'm going to go ahead and pop 2 of the Dollar Tree tea lights right in top. And that way we can actually burn real candles on these. And I just love how they turned out. Here's a little sneak peek, and I'll show you how they look lit up as well. Our little custom Easter egg candle holders. You can see that beautiful flocked surface of those Easter eggs. The Dollar Tree Plus really has beautiful Easter decorations this year. And this is the first year that I've had Dollar Tree Pluses in my area for Easter, so I was really thrilled to find these eggs. Super cute and fun. And let me show you how they look lit up. And I think these are going to be great for my Easter table this year. Now, check out this cute little fuzzy bunny sign I found at Dollar Tree today. I love the bunny. I don't necessarily love the sign that much, so we're going to kind of take that bunny head and make our own little spring sign. I'm going to use one of these signs I got on clearance at Target Dollar Spot, but Dollar Tree has the very similar sign, same size. It's about the same sheet as a sheet of paper. And then I want to cover it with a floral design. So I found these great bandanas at Dollar Tree today. Look at this beautiful floral print. I thought this would make a great background for the sign, and we can make a cute little bunny head Easter sign. So it's just a matter of covering up what's on the sign. I was going to paint it white, but then I decided, since it's about the same size as a sheet of paper, I could just use a piece of white cardstock, just trimming it down a little bit, and that would be an easy way to cover it because we're going to be Mod Podging to it anyway to attach the bandana to the top of it. But you could totally paint it. So I'm just going to do a coat of Mod Podge all over the sign. And I picked these up for like, I don't know, less than $1. So these were a great deal and a fun sign that I can kind of remake. I like the little frame on there. So I just glued the cardstock down, nothing crazy. And then it's just a matter of cutting out this floral pattern. I'm cutting off the green border on the side. And so I can kind of have 2 square edges here where I can kind of lay those up here, cut it long enough that it's going to cover the sign. And I kind of used my sign for reference on this. I'm not going to need like exact cuts on this because I'm going to kind of trim out the edges. So I just use an ink pen to kind of draw where the bottom of the frame is and kind of sketch out where the other side is here. So I can just trim that down. Nothing super accurate. With fabric, it's hard to get really accurate when you're covering something with fabric, but we're going to get as close as we can. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut out that rectangle. And I really love this bandana. I thought this was a really pretty print. Now I am going to iron mine just because it's a little wrinkled there, just to make sure that I get all that wrinkle out before I attach that to the back of the sign. So I have a nice flat piece of fabric. I just use my Cricut Easy Press for that. And then I just a matter of, I don't want it to overlap the edges. So I'm just trying to make sure that I have good coverage. I don't care if I see a little white around the edges because again, we're going to trim it out. But I don't really want any of the fabric like overhanging the edges. So I am going to have to trim it up here and there to make sure that it is fitting properly. And then we can just Mod Podge this down. I'm going to do a rather thick layer of Mod Podge on top of that cardstock that we put down. And just so it can really grab that fabric and make it stick, I'm not going to use any Mod Podge on top. So then it's just a matter of laying the fabric down. You have wiggle room and playtime to kind of move your fabric around and kind of get it exactly where you need it to be. And I want it straight and flat on there. I don't want any bubbles or anything like that. So again, I'm just going to use a paper towel, kind of go all over this, kind of make sure it is all glued down. There's not going to be any bubbling or anything. And then I'm going to actually kind of frame it out with a little bit of trim so you won't be able to see like the white edges, just to kind of make it look a little bit more finished. And I'm going to use some of the burlap trim from the Dollar Tree. I just wanted something that was going to kind of match the wood frame on there and not really take away from like the bright floral print and our cute little bunny head with a pink on there. So I love these floral trims. They come like in a 3-pack like this. So you don't get very much of an individual piece like this. So it is going to take me a couple packages to cover this because I think this was kind of a partial piece. And as you can see, like gluing that on, it's going to give me the perfect edges here. I'm also going to go around the top too, even though there is a frame on the top and the bottom, just because my cut was definitely not perfect. Hot gluing that on, kind of doing the flatter edge of this ribbon towards the outside to frame it out. And I think that's really cute. I love using this burlap trim. I am going to have to open another package so I can match that same print. And we just have the top left to frame out. And I think this is going to be a really beautiful floral background for that little fuzzy bunny Easter head. Now, these Dollar Tree signs are getting a little bit thicker, but you know what? They're still pretty easy to cut. So I'm just going to remove the hanger on the back. Those are pretty easy to remove. And then I want to remove this. I'm going to go ahead and try to salvage the bow. So I use a little bit of heat, try to melt the hot glue, and we can save that cute little pink gingham bow. And then it's just a matter of cutting his head off. Now, I couldn't really see from the back, so I'm actually going to do it from the front. And I'm just going to use a razor blade, kind of pushing that down. You have to do a couple cuts to get through it. But as you can see, it's really easy to cut these signs. You don't have to use a saw or anything like that. A straight blade will definitely get the job done. So I just cut it twice and then just bended it until it broke off. Easy peasy. And now we have a cute little fluffy bunny head. I love him. He's so cute. I've never seen this guy at the Dollar Tree before either, so he must be new. And he fits perfectly on this sign. This is a great floral background. I'm going to go ahead and hot glue him down and hot glue him directly to the fabric, making sure there's no bowing, none of it's like sticking out. Everything is good and flat. And that background is pretty busy, but I kind of like it. I think it's really bright and fun for spring. Now, I saved the little pink gingham bow, so I was thinking I could reuse it right here, like underneath of him, like where it was before. I thought that would be really cute. And so I'm just going to go ahead and hot glue that to the sign. Might as well use it since I have it. And it provided another little fun 3D detail to our little Easter bunny sign. Isn't he so cute? And I love that the bunny was already covered with fur, so I have another little fluffy bunny to add to my Easter decor. This is how he turned out. I think he's super sweet. I love the fact that he doesn't have any glitter or anything on him. A lot of times those Dollar Tree signs can be really blinged out. And I think he turned out really cute. What do you guys think? Now for the next DIY, I designed this free printable Cottontail Egg Decorating Company, and I will include a link to the free printable below. I printed mine out on cardstock, and we're just going to combine that with a Dollar Tree sign for a quick, easy Easter sign for the holiday. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the hanger on mine just because I'm going to make mine a standing sign. I like to save these hangers if I can, and they're not always put on in a centered location, so a lot of times you can't use them. But this is just a Dollar Tree sign. It's about the same size as a piece of paper, and my camera did not want to focus, but this is pink polish acrylic paint. I'm just going to paint the frame the pink color to brighten it up because I thought it was just a little dark and drab. And then we can do the free printable on the sign. I love these signs from the Dollar Tree just because they're so easy to DIY with just printing out a piece of cardstock. So I just went over the top of the frame with some of that pink polish. I do want some of the wood to show through, but I definitely want to brighten it up and make it look more fun for Easter. So as you can see, it really kind of soaked that paint up. So I do go over it with a second coat to make it a little bit brighter pink. I don't have to worry about being too careful with painting because the back of it is going to be covered up with the cardstock printable that I designed. So I think that looks pretty good. Now for the paper, I do need to trim it ever so slightly. That Dollar Tree frame is a little bit smaller than it, so I'm going to use my little Cricut paper cutter and just slightly cut off the edges and cut some off vertically as well. I think that's going to fit. And make sure you get your frame really good and dry. You don't want to get any paint on your printable. And I love this design. I think it's so cute. I created that little Peter Cottontail design with AI and then and made the sign to go with it. I think it's so fun. I do have that image itself for sale over on my Etsy shop, Crafty Beach on YouTube. if you just want the bunny, but I am going to share the free printable for you if you want to do this exact DIY in the description below this video. So I'm going to do a nice thick coat of Mod Podge all over the back of my sign. And then we can lay that little pea cottontail and printable right on top. Again, I use the cardstock because you don't get hardly any wrinkling when you Mod Podge this onto items. And it's just such an easy way to make your own little custom art piece for Easter. And I just made sure mine was nice and flat using a paper towel to kind of smooth it out and get any excess glue that may have seeped out. I'm going to go ahead and dry mine too. I was trying to make sure that my ink was good and dry because you can get a little bit of bleeding if you do seal over the top with a Mod Podge. So I'm trying to do like just a thin coat of Mod Podge over the top just to make the piece a little bit more durable and seal it. But I don't really want like all of that black to bleed. I notice black likes to bleed a little bit from my printer. So I just went over with a very thin coat. That's going to kind of give it like a canvas finish. But if you don't mind the paper on top, you could just leave it like that. I just don't want anything to get on it and discolor it. So that's why I wanted to seal mine with more Mod Podge. Easy peasy. Now I want to make mine a sign that stands up on its own, so I'm actually going to have to kind of make a stand for it. I used just a little block I got at Five Below. These are the little Jenga blocks. I pick these up every spring at Five Below. They are such a great way to get these large Jenga blocks for crafting. And I just hot glue that to the bottom, making sure not to go all the way to the bottom so it leans back ever so slightly so it will stand up properly. And now I have a little standing Easter sign. This is how it turned out, our little pea cottontail egg decorating company. How adorable is that image? I absolutely love it. And I will include a link in the description of today's video so that you can print your own to recreate. A free printable for all my crafty beach bums. I love it, and I really hope you enjoyed all of these Easter DIYs today. It's time for the final reveal. Let me know which Easter DIY was your favorite down in the comments below. I always love reading all of your comments. And don't forget to check out my second channel, Crafty Little Beach, if you like to watch shorter videos on your phone. Enjoy the final reveal.
Was out drinking, looking for the next thing. I couldn't really settle down. Always on the run, I didn't want to slow down. But baby, then you came around. Yeah, you came around. No, I won't ever let you down. I promise you that I'll hold on. I know that it gets tough sometimes, so I'm here to remind you, love. The sun will shine on you wherever you go, wherever you go. And when it gets dark, stay strong. You're never alone. You're never alone. The sun will shine. The sun will shine. Yeah. Now I cannot picture my life being without you. You're the center of my life. I know we can't predict the future, but baby, I won't lose you. You know that I will stick around. Yeah, I will stick around. No, I won't let you down. I promise you that I'll hold on. I know that it gets shine on you wherever you go, wherever you go. And when it gets dark, stay strong. You're never alone. You're never alone. The sun will shine. The sun will shine.
Thank you so much for making it all the way to the end of today's video. I also want to give a huge thank you to all of my YouTube members who support my channel here. Thank you to Karen O'Haron, Melinda Elizabeth, Jamie Job, Susan Edmonds, Tracy Knight, Janae Farrington, Pamelia Wren, Donna Schreiner, I Am Mojo Jojo, Live Another Day, Maren Christensen, Adrian Brolt, Debbie Middleton, Donna Tanner, Kim Rogers, and Maria Cruz Pagan. I really appreciate you guys so much for supporting my channel. If you would like to become a Crafty Beach Mom member, all you have to do is hit the join button next to today's video. You're going to get early ad-free access to my content here on YouTube, a badge next to your name when you comment, and a shout out in every video. And I would love to see what you've been DIYing. Be sure to check out our private Facebook group in the description of today's video and show off what you've been crafting. We would love to see it. And if you would like even more Easter crafting inspiration, I have got you covered. Be sure to check out one of these videos right here. And until next time, happy crafting and happy Easter.